Hi everybody, so good to see you here today. As usual, this is our every Thursday 8:30 People, Travel and Culture. This is our episode number 18 and I really hope you enjoy this session. If you like our session, please like, comment and share below. And most importantly, I hope you enjoyed with us last week. We have a chance to explore this beautiful city by the name of Lisbon, Portugal with our guide by the name of Teresa. And are you ready? This week, we're going to a very interesting country by the name of Croatia, and we're going to explore the capital city by the name of Zagreb. Are you ready? Let's go to Zagreb, Croatia. Hi, Samia. How are you doing?
Hello, Josh. Fine, thank you.
Wow, what a long time we don't get to meet each other, yeah?
Yes, too long.
So glad to see you here today. A lot of our travelers are very curious and they would like to know more about Croatia and also about the capital of Croatia, which is Zagreb. That's why we are so glad to have you with us here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
One thing I'm amazed with Croatia is the beautiful coastline that Croatia has, yeah?
Yes, we have a beautiful coastline, a very long coastline, from the border with Slovenia, nearly Italy, back down south to Montenegro. And it is actually our coast and the sea is called the Adriatic Sea. It's actually the deepest bay of the Mediterranean Sea into the continent of Europe. And it's a very special coast, very different from the Italian side, full of islands. We have more than 1,200 islands. We count them all. We count big islands, small islands inhabited not in rocks. We count them all. And because of these, let's say, geographical characteristics, so is our culture very specific on this coastal part of Croatia.
I see. And the coastline itself is, I remember, is about 1,700 kilometers. Is that right?
Exactly. It's a very long coast, even longer if you count all the islands, around. So yeah, the country is small, but the position of Croatia is such that this coast is really long. You have a feeling that it's a really big country.
Just wonder, how's the COVID situation going on now in Croatia, especially in Zagreb?
Well, the official authorities are concerned, but actually the situation is not that bad. We were very disciplined during winter time. We started with a very, very low numbers. They are a little bit rising, but they're still very low. So everybody's taking it very serious and doing everything possible to make it as safe as possible for those who are here.
I see. How about the vaccination? How's the vaccination going on?
Well, the vaccination is going on good, but some sectors had the priority, let's say. After the first priority groups, which were elderly, etc., now the tourism sector was the priority somewhere in April, March, June. So, for example, me, I'm fully vaccinated. I was already by the beginning of May, and many of my colleagues. It's going okay. I would say it's going okay. Yes.
I see. So good to hear this. In fact, a lot of our travelers can't wait to travel to Zagreb, to Croatia. Personally, I really enjoy my time in Croatia. One thing I really love about the Croatia is definitely the cuisine. Which we're going to talk about it in a little while. I think Croatia has a very interesting cuisine. And when we talk about Croatia, maybe you can give us some idea. How big is the country? What's the population like? And also, what's the population of Zagreb?
As I said, Croatia is not a big country. 10 years ago said that we were around 4,400,000. So today Zagreb, we think, has passed maybe a number of 1 million. But as I said, we will see after this new census. The last one said 10 years ago that we were around 800,000.
I see. So I still remember when we in Zagreb, you mentioned that basically Zagreb is kind of like separate into two towns, the upper town and lower town. Is that right? And exactly. I still remember when we start our tour in Zagreb, we always start with the upper town, and what we do is we take a funicular up the upper town. maybe you can explain to us a little bit about this funicular and about the view when we arrive at the upper town.
Capital city, modern city of Zagreb. We always talk about it as the two medieval towns existing together, one by side of the other, as neighboring towns. The part where the cathedral is a little bit older, from the 11th century, but the one where the upper town is, like with the funicular, the St. Mark's Church, etc., is actually from the 13th century. So this is a medieval town. And the funicular is very important because it is actually the first public transport in Zagreb. First, 1890. We got the trams a year later. And until that time, it was more or less a private type of transport. So first public transport. But why there? Well, because people started to live in the lower parts of the city, but many bureaucratic offices, official work, bureaucracy stayed in the upper town. So you had to go quickly up and down to do some business. This is why the capital city said, okay, so we are giving to this engineer, again, the certificate for him to build the funicular, the shortest one in the world. You are up in like 50 seconds, Once you get up, as you are going up, the beautiful view on the whole Zagreb opens up. And once you're out, you're actually on this small terrace with a fantastic view towards the whole new Zagreb, so east, south, and west. And we can explain a lot, and we can enjoy, we can make lots of photos. And behind it is a tower that is called the Lotoschak Tower, that is also very important, very popular, because it has a cannon on the 3rd floor, which fires every day at noon. So
really?
We regularly have groups waiting just for that fire. So it's pretty crowded around noon in the upper town. And it's actually an old tradition since the late 19th century. Of course, it doesn't fire any bullets, so nobody gets hurt, But if you do not, warn your group or guests that there will be something at noon, it can be a pretty big shock,
I see. I like that. That's something very interesting. In fact, I always find the magic moment is that the moment we arrive at the upper town, the moment we walk out and we see the scenery, it was really great. And the other one that I always remember, and that really helped me to remember Zagreb a lot, is the museum. So, a very interesting museum by the name of Broken Relationship. Is that right?
Yes, it is still
That's
the
something
most
unique.
Popular. It's a very special museum, very original museum, and still the most popular museum, I would say, not only in Zagreb, but, in Croatia. It is also privately owned, and it's very special because it was done around the broken romantic relationships. So they gathered items that were like marking the end of romantic relationships.
And of course, when we talk about the upper town, the first landmark that always come to my mind and I find so unique and lovely is the St. Mark Church. Is that right?
St. Mark's Church, exactly. St. Mark's
Church.
That
is truly the landscape of Zagreb.
It is. And
the landmark of Zagreb.
Absolutely. And not only for tourists, for locals also. When I see the roof of the St. Mark's Church, for me, it's first home. I am from Zagreb, so I was born in Zagreb. I grew up in Zagreb. My whole life is in Zagreb. So for me also, it's home. But actually that roof that is so popular, it's actually from the late 19th century. The church is very old. The church, approximately today we say it's 13th century, but it's probably even older. It is a very intimate church. You can see by the looks of the church that it was built for the community. This is the place where people from the upper town were gathering, either individually for prayer or as members of different brotherhoods, as craftsmen, to light the candle for their business. But today, St. Mark is the landmark of Zagreb.
I see. Interesting. And I still remember when after we visit the St. Mark Church, then we'll walk and you'll slowly walk down towards the lower town. And the first landmark that you will see is the Stone Gate. Is that right?
Exactly. Stone Gate is just one gate that was left from the Middle Ages. The upper town was actually fortified by the wall. It's a very good defense wall, approximately 2 meters thick. In the 18th century, Zagreb was hit by one of the strongest fires, biggest tragic fires. This is a very important fire because everything was burned down that was around the stone gate in wood. But in the ashes, in the morning, people found the picture, the canvas painting of Virgin Mary that was actually being stored in an apartment above the stone gate. And although everything was destroyed, the picture was practically untouched. It has just a little bit like the flares of the fire on the borders, but actually untouched. And citizens said that should be a miracle. And by the donations of the citizens of the upper town, the local craftsmen built the altar. So what you can see today is this altar inside the stone gate with this original painting of Saint Mary and Jesus. Croatia is in majority a Catholic country, and when Catholics pray, they pray in silence, not like, cultural customs are different. But for Catholics, it's very important when they pray that they pray in silence. That's why when we go through the stone gate, we ask people to calm down. We tell the story before or after.
Yeah, I always remember that, we walk down the stone gate, then we have a little, do you call that a church?
Yes.
There is a little church. And then we arrive in the square. The name of the square is Ban Jelacic Square. Is that right?
Yes. Ban Josip Jelacic.
Okay.
In translation
Josip
into English,
Jelacic.
it would be Governor Joseph Jelacic. So Ban Jelacic, or Governor Jelacic, working for the emperor in Vienna, actually was beating and confronting Hungarian troops, So because of this, he was very popular in Croatia. And during his lifetime, so while he was still alive in the 19th century, first part, this square was named after him. The monument that is on the square was put after his death, 10 years after his death.
I see. And in fact, I still remember we always name this Ban Jelacic square as like the center of Zagreb.
Yes.
So whenever you want to meet somebody, there's always a meeting point. Is that right?
Yes, it is. But it's not only for tourists, because the local people, before the monument was moved from the square in 1947, local people were meeting under the tail of the horse. So it is a traditional place for us to meet.
Oh, now, this really bring back my memories about Zagreb. I can't wait to travel there and have fun. And one thing I love about this Ban Jelacic square is that there are some cafes. We can sit down, have a coffee, enjoy the atmosphere, the ambience. And a lot of our travelers, when they arrive in this square, they were very excited because there's also a very lovely market just right behind the square by the name of a Dolat Market. Is that right?
Yes, Dolat's Market. It's on two levels, The open part, fruits, veggies, very colorful. From spring to late autumn, full of colors,
Oh, yes.
The ground floor is dairy and meat section. Also very not colorful, but with beautiful smells, So for a local person, the standard walk, usually on Saturdays, would be come on the Governor Jelacic Square, then you go on this open part of Dolat's Market to see what is fresh, seasonal produce there. Usually we don't bargain unless we buy a lot. You don't bargain for one item. It's not a tradition here. And I remember when I started with my food tours, sometimes I do these special small food tours just on the Dolat's Market. My first customers told me, "Oh, it's very strange on this." I said, "What is strange?" "Well, it's very cold and clean." And I said, "But it's natural." And then I realized it's not. That's how we do it. So yes, the market is very clean. We don't bargain. And we wait in line when we want to buy something. This is the cultural characteristic of the way we buy on the markets.
I think when you want to experience the culture of Croatia, the culture of Zagreb, I think Dolat Market is definitely a must, to visit, to experience, to get close to the culture. And I still remember, from there, then we explore the upper town. Am I right? Maybe you can explain to us a little bit about the upper town as well.
So from Dolots, Dolots is really the central place. You can go either to the upper town if you started on the main square with the cathedral, or if you were already in the upper town, you did the funicular, you did St. Mark's Square, you can continue and go towards the cathedral. When you see the position of the cathedral is visible from all around Zagreb. Wherever you are, you can see the cathedral.
Yes.
So, Catholic churches are always built from west to the east with the altar on the east side. You can always know where you are. But even if you don't know the north, south, when you see the cathedral, I'm on the south, I'm on the west, east, etc. So it's an orientation point, and it always reminds you, through history, who had the upper hand, who was the authority. You could have the king, you could work for your aristocrat family. There were kings in Vienna, Budapest, then in Vienna, but actually the authority until the 15th, 16th century was the church.
I see. And then we also have the National Theatre as well. Is that right? And with a beautiful park at the, located in the upper town.
So this lower town, below the upper town and capital, that is called the lower town. And that is actually the first planned part of Zagreb, the first modern and planned district of Zagreb. And it's very special. Today, this lower town has 3 parks on the east side, with the Zrinjevac Park, first one and northest one, finishing south by the Tomislav Square in front of the railway station. And then to the south, it goes behind the Esplanade Hotel by the Botanical Garden. And then at the end of the Botanical Garden goes up and ends with the National Theatre. It's a beautiful neo-Barocco style building. Neo means a little bit of copy of the Barocco style from the 18th, 17th, 18th century. And it contains opera, ballet, drama still, whatever you want of those 3, you go there. It's on a beautiful square with beautiful other monuments. The Well of Life in front of it from the Ivan Meštrović, the greatest sculptor of Croatia from the 20th century. So it's also one of those landmarks when we can learn a lot about Croatian history and culture.
I see. Interesting. These really bring back my memories. I find the National Theatre is very unique because of the color. It's very sharp yellow color, and that's really memorable. And one thing I really is that right? It's yellow in color, right?
Yes. It's a very symbolic color because it's a typical color of the Habsburg monarchy. Whenever you go, when you see something in that yellow color and a little bit resembling the decorations of the Barocco, you can be pretty sure that there was a Habsburg monarchy ruling that territory in that time.
I see. Okay, that's interesting. And and you know what really make me looking forward to visit Zagreb is definitely, of course, the scenery, the landmark, but also this particular very unique restaurant that's one of my favorite. I can never forget that restaurant and the dining experience that we have. Is by the name of Vino Dor, is that right?
Yes.
And I still remember it's one of the oldest restaurants in Zagreb.
It is a very old restaurant. And I remember, for example, my mother in 1970s, 80s, when she would go on business lunches with the crew, with the business team, they would go there because you knew nothing would be missed. Today it's run, in the last maybe 10, 15 years, it's run by another family. It's still called Vino Dor, one of the finest restaurants. They would, they're covering all the specialty dishes of Croatia that you can eat in Croatia. Some, of course, have to be ordered in advance because of the, duration, etc. They make fantastic desserts. I have a sweet tooth. I'm very, very, I like everything that is sweet, desserts, etc. And I like the way they twist traditional recipes.
And in fact, I actually looked through the internet and I found there's a long list of Croatian food that we must try. And we actually took the opportunity and tried as many as we can. And actually shortlist a few that is my personal favorite. And I remember there's one Broadetto, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Maybe you can
Yes.
explain to us what is this Broadetto, and
So,
also the other one is Pekka.
Becca, well, traditionally, again, the main goal, in old ways, women were actually cooking at home. So the main goal was how to feed the whole family as little ingredients possible. Bruschetta, for example, if you read recipes, it would say at least 3 types of fish. So whatever is left, with this beautiful tomato sauce, and you always add a little bit of wine into it. Peka, we still do it in Croatia. As I said, if you want to eat peka in restaurant, you have to phone in advance, and you have to either order it or check if they are preparing it. What is that? That is actually the oldest way of cooking, I mean, oldest, not Croatian, but actually prehistorical. So you have to put the food that you want to prepare into something, whether metal or stone, cover it well so that you can put some ash on it to keep the temperature as long as possible. And when you do that, the ingredients cooked inside, first of all, the meat is soft, and all other ingredients are there, cooked together for a long time. They catch, odors and
Oh,
smells
yes.
and uh, tastes of one another. And it's, what usually we veal under peka, under the bell is very popular, but whatever you do under peka is really, really delicious. So, and it takes a lot of skill, to be able to, know how much of the fire, open fire and ash you should put, so that you keep the temperature going on, for hours, hours and hours. So one thing that traditional Croatian food is not, it's not a fast food. It took some time to prepare it, and it was always served inside around the family members. It's a social, so eating, preparing long preparing, and it's a social event once you sit and eat with your fellow, today either friends or family.
I see. Sounds like when it comes to Croatia, it's actually very one of the culture that maybe we can discuss is that Croatia is also very family oriented. Is that right?
Very family oriented, yes. Very family. Family is a cornerstone for everyone, and not only family, because we have communities, that are very close knit together. So wherever you go through your travels, maybe you won't, but I think you will even feel it in big cities like Split, for example. It's people knowing each other in the streets, everyone, the neighbors, your people selling in the bakeries and small shops, by name the servants in restaurants and in cafes, and you know them during their free time. And these are I would say, these invisible links.
Yeah, that's a feeling that I get when I always travel to Croatia. The feeling of closeness, the feeling of very friendly, very enjoying kind of a warm atmosphere, even though the weather sometimes can be cold. But it's definitely an experience traveling to Croatia. And by the way, I'm so glad talking to you, Samia, and what a great chat that we have, and we learned so much from you regarding Zagreb. And I really miss traveling to Zagreb and can't wait to see you.
Well, I miss you too. Wait to welcome you again to Zagreb, and walk with you and get you acquainted with my culture, which I enjoy very much.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, Samia, and see you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I hope you have a great time with us. If you enjoy our session, please like, share, and comment below. And I hope you have a great time with our guide by the name of Samia, exploring this beautiful city by the name of Zagreb, Croatia. Are you ready to find out where we are going next week? Next week, we are going to a city with a nickname Pearl of Danube. Personally, I really enjoy this city. I find this is an amazing city. And what I really enjoy about this city is the river cruise, the Danube River Cruise. Do you have any idea where is this place? You are right. Next week, we are going to Budapest, Hungary. See you next week, same time, same place, people, travel, and culture.